Would you ever completely just button up your RV, close it down, and take an actual trip? Well, it's important to realize that when you are full-timing, that you still deserve a vacation. So like Lauren and I, we actually work full-time. So I work from the road. She has her in-person job, but we still want to take breaks. Now, up until this point, that has included our RV, and we absolutely love that. We're not saying don't change that, but there are still a lot of things out there in the world to experience. So what we're going to talk about today is potentially leaving your RV behind and maybe going on an airplane and traveling somewhere else. Also, as a full disclaimer, in the next few videos, for my day job, I organize special events all over the world, really. And that's kind of what's happening. So I'm getting ready to leave on a work trip, using that term loosely, down to Mexico. And you're going to see that in the next upcoming videos. But today we're going to talk about if you are going to leave your RV and travel that way, what exactly do you need to prepare for? All while it's kind of maintenance day on the rig, and that I've been neglecting a few things. And so we're going to get the rig washed. We need to grease some slide mechanisms and just kind of do some general stuff. So we're going to talk about all of that. Plus, we're going to have a special guest, my business partner on the travel side, Mr. Randy Otts from Getaway Travel, to answer some of those questions. Join us this week as we talk about leaving your rig and traveling internationally. We're about halfway through washing the rig, and the RV is a perfect place to talk about what do you do with your RV. So there's a couple of different options. Let's talk about where you would store it initially. So if you happen to be in an RV park and you're okay paying for it to sit in that spot, there's nothing wrong with that. I would communicate that to the office before you do things so they understand that nobody's there. That way they can kind of keep an eye on it for you. Also, some RV parks do actually have storage, so you could hypothetically also store it unplugged at an RV park. Now, how you store it we'll get into in a minute, but the third option, I guess third and fourth option, number 3 would be find a storage facility that maybe rents space by the week or just pay for a month. RV site is probably going to be a little more expensive more versus finding a storage place that you could do that. Now that's a little bit more logistically problematic because typically when you get there, you're not really gonna have a ton of room to put slides out, get what you need. So you'd have to pack before you go, have it all buttoned up so that way when you get there, you just kind of drop it and go. Now, the third is find a relative or a family member or somebody along those lines to help. So essentially park it at someone's house, property, something along those lines. Now, leaving the RV, finding a place for it and leaving it are two different things, right? Because at some point you're going to have to do things to make sure that the RV is okay while you're gone, especially if you full-time. So let's finish getting the rig washed and we'll talk about that. We had a casualty. My little pole that I used to wash the high parts of the rig broke. Darn. So let's for a minute say that you found somewhere to put your rig. So there's a few things that you're definitely going to want to do before you leave your rig. Now, this is different if you're leaving your RV for a day or two versus say like a month. For a month, you want to be a little bit more permanent. If you're just leaving it for a long weekend, depending on your setup, you may be okay leaving a few things on, that kind of stuff. So like, for instance, if I was running a stock system, I would clean out the fridge, clean anything out that might melt as if it got hot in the RV, if that's the weather scenario you're in. But I'd obviously turn all the propane off and bleed the lines. I would turn off all the water and again, kind of depressurize those lines with a low point drain or a sink or whatever. Dump all your tanks. I would go ahead and just, if you're going to use the rig as soon as you get back, go ahead and reset your black tank. So like for us, that's typically putting 5 to 7 gallons of water plus liquefied in there for the black tank treatment. So I would go ahead and do that, but make sure everything else is nice and dry. If it's going to freeze, consider winterizing. So obviously that's just situational depending on when you're going on said other trip. But the other thing is if you're staying in a campground, bring your slides in. There's no reason not to, right? And then some sort of a locking pin. I mean, the chances of someone stealing your RV, pretty low, but why not? Just a layer of security. We always put a little pin on our king pin box right there that just kind of keeps it from anybody being able to hook up to it, and then pull those slides in. No reason not to. And then the last but not least, I would tell you to not only throw the breaker, but I would tell you to unplug completely. If you want to put it away, you can. And then same with your sewer. You don't have to undo everything, but make sure all your gate valves are closed. And then last but not least, definitely make sure you turn off the water from the campground in, because you don't want that. That would be a really, really bad scenario. So that's about it. It's hot. It's Texas. It's 100 degrees. I know our RV rolls. I get it. But we're here for Lauren's work, and then I have to travel tomorrow, which you guys will see next week. But yep, we are going to now take a little bit of a break. The RV is officially clean on the outside. Still got to do the truck and the inside of the RV. But we're going to take a little bit of a break, go in, jump on a call with my buddy Randy, and let's talk a little bit about what exactly you should be prepared for to travel internationally, whether it's your first time or you're a seasoned vet, and kind of state of what travel looks like at the current moment in 2023. So let's go jump on with Randy. All right, well, we are done working on the rig. We've talked a little bit so far in this video about when you leave your RV and you want to travel internationally, what you should do as far as leaving your RV and the state you should leave your RV in. But like I promised at the beginning of the video, I wanted to bring in an expert, and I'm a mini expert, and I wanted to bring the big expert, even though he's small on the screen at the moment. Now he's not. This is Randy Otts, owner, chief memory architect, redneck Santa. What else do you want to be called, Randy?
Well, you've done a very good description there, but let me clarify something though. We're not experts; we're professionals.
There you go.
Because you know the definition of an expert is? Well, if you break the word down, X is a has-been, and a spurt is a drip under pressure.
Ruh-roh. I need to change some terminology then. And I did leave off probably the most important title, very, very good friend.
I love that. We're almost like brothers.
Pretty much.
You just need to grow some whiskers.
I like to kiss on Lauren, and she gets annoyed with them, so I stay clean shaven. All right, Randy. So we've been talking to pretty much our RV community about international travel. So one of the first questions I have for you that we've gotten a couple of times now is kind of around passports, and this is a very multifaceted question. So let's start in chronological order. So if you have a passport and it's expired, about to be expired, or need to get a passport for the first time, what's that process kind of look like? What are the do's and don'ts?
The process looks like this. First off, what you want to do is you want to go on to the uspassport.gov website, and you want to complete I believe it's a DS 1182 form, but don't quote me on those numbers.
I'm impressed you had that.
Yeah. Anyhow, if you fill that out electronically, and then you can print that out, and then you're going to need to sign it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to want to go on your favorite browser, and you're going to want to look up CVS or Walgreens, and you're going to look for a coupon so that you can get a couple of dollars off of your passport picture that you're going to run down there and buy. And then you're going to attach all that together along with your passport, and you're going to send that in to the address which they told you to send it into on the uspassport.gov website. It's going to take normally it was about 6 to 8 weeks. Right now, everything's running about 8 to 11 weeks. That's with an expedite. So that's with paying for the extra expedite. So
let me ask you this. When they ship in, can you have that passport shipped anywhere, or does it have to go back to the address you provide in the form?
It's supposed to go to what is considered your registered domicile.
So whatever is on your driver's license, essentially.
Yeah.
So in the RV world, if you full-time, that could be a problem for you. If you're part of Escapees or Escapers, if you're part of any of these other domicile companies that are out there. So let's say you went full-time, you travel the country, and you decide to take up residency in Texas or South Dakota, are the most popular two. You got to remember, your passport's going there. So when it does come through, so I would tell you to allot for a few more weeks. Now, we don't use one of those companies. Lauren and I actually use her parents' house, and so that's kind of like cheating. But if you do utilize that service, whatever your standard issue time for them to actually receive that, you need to tack on whatever it would be for them to then get it to you. I would say add a couple of weeks just to be safe. So definitely don't wait till the very last second. If you have a cruise booked, if you have international travel book and you need that passport, make sure and do it early enough to buy yourself some time. And then, Randy, we were just talking a little bit about apparently there's a card and a book.
Correct. I mean, you can buy what they call a passport card, which is like an oversized driver's license, basically, or you can buy a passport booklet. And the booklet is the one that has the blue front and back cover. The cards are only valid if you're driving across the Mexico or the Canadian border.
Gotcha.
Some cruise lines do accept those cards as well, not all, because it depends on where you're going, because some countries don't recognize those cards. It has to be the booklet. So in my opinion, spend a little bit of extra money, get the booklet, you're covered for everything. And it's not that much difference in price.
I was about to say, I've only ever had a booklet, so just get the booklet.
Yes, definitely.
So to Getaway Travel, you and Lisa, me, all the other team, we seem to specialize with the all-inclusives and group trips. And shameless plug, we have two of our events. We didn't even plan this. Two of our events on our head. Randy, you have the Guitars and Swim Up Bars logo. I see there in your head, which is a 5-artist thing that you guys do in Riviera Maya every year. Their hotel changes a little bit every year to year sometimes. And then I have the Topo Chico Cowboys Getaway on my hat. Ironically, I've teased in the video. They don't know what's happening quite yet, but I've teased in the video that I'm leaving tomorrow, but not taking the rig. We are going to see each other the first time in like 6 months, 8 months, something like that.
I'm going to tell you, I'm having Ryan Miller withdrawals.
Yeah, Lauren would argue the opposite of that. Please take him. But we're actually going to go down and have some fun with the guys from the Topo Chico Cowboys and Bree Bagwell and Christy Greider and I don't remember more artists, and it's going to be a blast. But because we do these at all-inclusive resorts, one of the questions that I had when I first started traveling with you guys is, it's all-inclusive, so you're covered, right? No. You don't have to pay anything out of pocket once you get there. But that's not 100% true, because you still need to take care of people, or do you not have to tip? No tip?
Well, let's expand on that a little bit more. It's all inclusive, but if you want to take advantage of the spa amenities, or you want to order that big 42-ounce tomahawk steak, or you want to order that 6-pound lobster or 8-pound lobster, those come in additional charges. If you want to buy that premium bottle of wine or premium bottle of champagne, then there's extra charges there. But tipping is always a big thing that comes up. And believe it or not, at these hotels that we work with when we do these music groups, tipping is already included, they say. Okay, so they say no tipping is needed. But I've been doing this long enough, and I know for a fact that these guys, they work their tail ends off for us, and they do a really, really good job. And I'm one of these that you should always tip from the heart. And if they're doing a great job for you, by all means, slip them a little bit of money.
I was about to say, I know when we've been together, I always try to tip a little bit, or we pool it together if there's something big that they did for us as a group, that kind of stuff. And so I'm the same way. And when you said that they work their tails off, it's crazy. If you've been there for a day, I mean, they remember your name, and this isn't just some of them; it's all of them. Yeah, it's the service is absolutely outstanding. At least the places that we've used so far. I haven't had a bad experience yet when I've listened to you. So let's say that somebody decides to go down there. They're on the Topo Chico Cowboys Getaway, but they decide, hey, I want to go off-site. I don't want to just stay at the hotel. I want to go do something. They want to do a tour. And I relate sometimes all-inclusives to kind of like cruising. They're similar structurally, obviously very different because one's on a ship and one's not. But should you just get down there, see what you want to do and go, or should you book that before you leave for the vacation?
I'm always a proponent of plan what you want to do in advance and get it booked in advance, because if it's something that, if you're working with a good vacation advisor, they're going to help. They're going to say, hey, this is the hot tours that are going on. And if
Right.
those try to accord with what you like to do, get it booked, get it paid for, it's done. Then you don't have to mess with it. Once you get there, you're on most tours, depending on what they are. Like for instance, some of the Dolphin, you have to book your specific time and date right then when you book and pay. But most of them, they give you a voucher. And then once you get to the hotel, you meet with the tour guy and you go, hey, I've got this voucher for an ATV and 2-man speedboat tour. And, when can I take this? Oh, well, we've got them available every day from 8 to 12 or from 12 to 4, pick your time and pick your day, and we're good. But it's all taken care of. You've already paid for it and everything. So, from the minute you get on that airplane, how much your vacation is going to cost.
It's done.
Yep.
Plus, you also do run the risk of it selling out if you wait
Correct.
that long until it gets there. So if there is something you're just set on, this is going to make or break the vacation. Yeah, definitely. Especially
Absolutely.
in that scenario, book it early just because you don't want to miss out. So
the other thing, real quick, let me throw this in there real quick, Ryan. The other thing is that you're booking with a reputable tour operator. A lot of times you'll get down there and Mr. Ryan, come over here. I can give you a really, really good snorkeling tour. And yeah, you can get a really good snorkeling tour, but you're going to go out on a little bitty old Pango boat, and they're going to give you a juice box and maybe some crackers and a little cheese stick.
Don't knock on the juice box and the cheese stick, man. Those are some good snacks, okay? But you're exactly right, and that's a good actually kind of segue, because that exact same thing happens at most airports when you're coming in. So there's caddies, there's other tour operators outside of maybe the one you would have booked. Timeshares, that's another one. And listen, if you're in the timeshares, you're gonna have a blast. If you love sitting and listening to a timeshare spiel, you're gonna love them. I'm not a fan. I like to change up where I go. I don't, and the money's never worked out to where it made sense for us. So, but when you get to the airport, there's that same thing that you just said about tour operators going, oh, Mr. Ryan, come on over here. Mr. Randy, come over here.
Yep.
It really, and we've talked about it. You just kind of put your blinders on and you get through it, and no gracias. And then you keep going and you get to where you're supposed to be. But, tours, and I'm going to say transfers at the airport. So, you already kind of have an idea what I'm going to say, but wing it when you get there, find you an Uber
no.
And
Uber is a really, really bad word. It's in Mexico, especially in Cancun.
Really?
Yes.
Like an actual swear word, or I'm sorry.
No, it's because there's so much friction between the taxi cabs and the Uber drivers that, if you walk out and say, hey, I've got I've got an Uber. What's going to happen is you've just set yourself up to be not to be pummeled, but they're probably going to pin your Uber driver in to where you're not going to get out of that airport because there's so much that friction going on. I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you want a stress-free, easy transfer from the minute you land at the airport, book it in advance with a reputable transfer company. We utilize Lomas Travel. They've been around 45 years. They're one of the largest transfer companies in the Cancun area. And the one thing about it too, you get in that Uber car, you're not insured. You get in a Lomas transfer, they buy an insurance policy on the people that are in that vehicle. So it's mandatory that they know who's getting in their vehicle because they're buying an insurance policy on you. And you're covered. If they have an accident, you don't worry. Your medical's taken care of. Everything's taken care of.
Hopefully they just don't get in an accident. That's the goal.
Well, that's the goal. But I've been in Mexico and I've been in an accident, and so and I do know.
You're right. Yeah, you have. I forgot about that. You did not long ago either.
No, it was less than a year.
Yep, I was about to say. I remember you. We were talking or texting or something that day, and you went dark on me for like 2 hours. And so I'm coming to find out that's why.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about the transfer partner having insurance. So that's another. You're just setting me up, man. I love it. So one of the questions we always ask people that go on our trips, and quite frankly, you see it pop up a lot as you're checking out, whether you're doing a cruise or something, if you're booking online, or if you're going through somebody or on a phone, is trip insurance. Is it really worth it? Is it not?
Well, let's put it this way. I buy an insurance policy every year that covers me for the whole year. I highly, highly, highly recommend it because it does so much. Number one, it covers a case of a flight delay. It covers in case of lost luggage. It covers in case of a hurricane, whether, hurricane cancel before you're going to leave, but also a hurricane if you're there. And let's say they have to evacuate you out and you only got the first 2 days of your 7-day vacation. Well, you'll get those other 5 days refunded back.
Right.
Whereas if you don't have travel insurance, they don't have to give you your money back.
Right.
The other thing is dismemberment insurance is included in the policies that we sell. And so you're out on that jet ski and you have a wreck and you end up losing your arm. Well, it's insured. Life insurance, it includes life insurance. It includes medical insurance. And it's for the amount of money. Look at it like this. You're spending $3,000 or $4,000 or more on a vacation.
Right.
It's an investment. It's no different than putting $3,000 or $4,000 on a boat or a car or whatever. You want to protect that investment. And for a couple, $200-$300, why not protect it? Here's a perfect example as well. 2 weeks ago, we're down in Mexico, and my wife tumbled in Playa del Carmen. She tripped over a curb, and she injured her wrist. We went to the emergency room there in Playa del Carmen, and X-rays and to see the doctor, $1,300. Here in the U.S., that'd have been about $500.
Yeah. Depending on your insurance,
and depending on insurance, if you have insurance. But down there, 95% of the insurance policies people have does not protect them when they're in a foreign country. Very few insurance packages do. And so, but we have travel insurance. So that $1,300, it'll get refunded. Now she just had surgery yesterday on that wrist back here in the USA because it was injured pretty bad. But it's extremely important, in my opinion, to buy travel insurance.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And you're right. It's really pennies on the dollar. And I mean, we've even had the scenario. In fact, I think the last time you and I went out of the country together, didn't just see you here in Texas. We were in Riviera Maya, and we had a hurricane coming in. And that last night we were there, that hurricane hit. Now, it was just a little, category 2. It really wasn't that big of a deal. And I will say the hotel was it hit. It was a little bit windy that morning after it hit overnight. And by the time we were getting ready to leave for the airport by lunch or 1 or whatever time it was, it looked like nothing had happened.
Yeah.
And so, but if that had been a bigger hurricane and the hotel would have evacuated, or you felt for your safety that you should have left, I can only imagine what the change fees on an airline for that would be. And I'm assuming that would be covered in trip insurance. And I'm saying that it may be, depending on the policy.
It's every policy we sell, it would be covered, providing it's not covered unless they are telling you to evacuate. If it's your choice to evacuate just because you feel unsafe, different story, because the airline didn't say you needed, or the government didn't say you need to evacuate.
Gotcha. So that's a good point of, if you're not working through to getaway travel, make sure you ask these questions, because, just because you guys and our team have done the due diligence to only offer the best stuff doesn't mean that whatever advisor you are using has. So just make sure you read all of the details when you're doing that, if you're not doing it through us. So Randy, that's really all the questions I had, but we're not ending on a depressing thing like canceling a trip and dismemberment insurance.
Absolutely not.
That's depressing and sad. So let's talk just briefly about why, I think there's a big misconception, and a lot of people we've talked to in the RV community, I get that there's a misconception of what a travel agent, travel advisor, in Ural's case is a memory architect, what they actually do, and how much it costs somebody to actually use an advisor to help plan their vacation for them. So,
Okay. Well, first off, we consider ourselves experiential memory architects, and what that means is that we want to create an experience, not just a vacation. Yeah, we can book you an air in a hotel and a transfer, but we want to create the whole experience. Maybe it's a special occasion. Maybe it's your 25th wedding anniversary. Well, would you love to be picked up in a Lincoln Navigator or a limo with a bottle of your favorite champagne, a bottle of your favorite wine, or maybe a bottle of your favorite tequila? We arrange all that. We're almost like a travel concierge. When you get to the resort, wouldn't you like to be checked in and maybe have a decorated room with rose petals leading the doorway into the bed, and maybe champagne and chocolate covered strawberries with a jacuzzi tub filled up and ready for you? We can take care of all that. All of those little things like that we take care of, and we do all that with no extra charge. There are some vacation consulting companies out there that charge fees for planning. We don't charge planning fees unless it's maybe like a 15 or 20-day itinerary that's got you trekking through Africa or maybe South America or something like that. That's going to take a lot of time to put together.
Right.
The other good thing about a travel agent is that we have relationships with these companies. For instance, I mentioned Lomas Travel. We mentioned Topo Chico and Guitars and Summit Bars. The hotels that we're going to, we've known the general managers or the owners of those hotels for many, many years. And so when you tell us, hey, I really, really want to have room 236 because that's the room we stayed in when we honeymooned. Well, not 100% chance, but a 99% chance we're going to get you room 236.
As long as it's available for the duration of your stay. There's the disclaimer for you.
Correct. But so it's the relationships that we have, and we sell where we've been. Some travel advisors out there, they sell everything under the sun. Well, we have different people who've been different places and been there a lot, and those are the things that we promote and we sell. We do put together and produce quite a few events. We do destination weddings. We do a lot of different stuff. I mean, if you're a company, we can take care of your company retreat.
I was going to say, Randy, you just kind of let the cat out of the bag there when you say we only sell what we have been to. And yes, there's a bunch of different people that work inside of Two to Getaway, and they all have their kind of little areas that they are a little bit more specialty in. But if you follow the Two Getaway travel page and or Randy in any capacity, he can sell everything because he's been pretty much everywhere at this point. This man is the dream.
We travel quite often. We're gone probably at least 1 to 2 weeks out of each month, making sure that where we're going to send you is one, safe, and two, it's gonna meet your expectations, and three, it gives us the ability to create the experience that you're going to come back and talk about for years to come.
Right. Well, and that's not only is that just if you're checking out new hotels and areas we've been to before, like for instance, the Riviera Maya is a very popular place on the Yucatan Peninsula down in Mexico. We're going to be there. Swim Up Bars is there. But that's also going to new hotels that are being built there, as well as new destinations. And if anybody watching this does want to follow along and get some great hotel tours, no videos of Lisa tripping. I hope the camera wasn't on for that one. And anything along those lines, and you're looking for tips, advice, just general travel, hotel tours, that kind of stuff, please make sure to go check out Two Getaway Travel here on YouTube, as well as Instagram, Facebook, all of the places.
Same handle everywhere.
Yep. There you go. All right, buddy. Well, man, I really appreciate your time, and I cannot tell you how much I'm looking forward to seeing your face live and in person tomorrow.
Ryan, I am just as excited as you, and I just, I wished it was 11:30 tomorrow morning as we're greeting each other there in Cancun, Mexico.
Well, I don't land till 1, so you'll be greeting nobody for a hot minute. But
well, if you're landing at 1, I'm actually landing just a little bit before noon. So
are you really? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll be there. I'll be there waiting for the beverage for you.
Perfect, buddy. Well, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
All right, so as you can see, Randy is a wealth of information. Again, please go check out Two Getaway Travel. We'll have a link in the description below to all their socials. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're trying to take a vacation or do anything, it's smart to use a travel advisor. It literally doesn't cost you anything. Also, feel free to reach out to us in the comments below. We'd be more than happy to help. Hopefully someone got some value out of this video. We appreciate you being here as always. And make sure and tune in next week because we're going to go have some fun with Randy and Josh Greider and Drew Kennedy and Bree Bagwell and Christy Greider. And it's going to be a blast down in Mexico. We wish you could have been there. Come to the next one. Make sure and come to the next one. We'll see you guys next weekend. Bye, Mom.